Okay, the time is 5:30. We'll call the meeting to order, January 29th. I guess the first thing we ought to do is let the budget committee have their speak on what they want to do here. So I don't, who was the chairman of the budget?
Catherine.
Catherine?
Time being 5:30 with this meeting of the Tilton Northfield Fire District Budget Committee come to order. I'm not sure why we're here. Our public hearing is the 6th. There's reason for this meeting.
Would you like to do your minutes before we go into?
We do minutes, yes.
Did you guys need copies?
Who needs copies of the minutes? Everybody's.
Anybody with copies?
I've read them, but
It's been a while.
I his packet. The minutes.
Yes. This is for the December 18th budget committee minutes.
Yeah, the minutes for some reason.
Deputy, congratulations. Oh, congratulations. I didn't know.
Wrong spot. No, you're fine. Are you waiting for a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Any discussion? Do I see people still reading minutes?
Did you second them, Jason?
I did.
Jason seconded. All right, hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. It's passed. Okay. And we've done our homework.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm still not sure what the budget committee is meeting
Would the
today.
commissioners like to explain to the budget committee why they're meeting with them tonight? I think it's time you guys filled them in on what happened last week.
So last week, We were supposed to go to a one-day jury trial. It was last week or this week. We were supposed to go to a one-day jury trial with our case lawsuit with the water district. The week before that, we was a mediation session between us and them, and reached an agreement on the lawsuit to avoid going to trial. In that, that agreement was accepted on Monday or Tuesday last week by the judge,
The 22nd.
the 22nd by the judge, in place of a jury trial. And of course, it affects the budget. So that's what we're here to fill you in on. And I don't have it in front of me, or do I have it in front of me?
Yes.
So,
It's in the packet that I gave
You're
you.
talking about this agreement?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the agreement. Okay.
Yeah.
so obviously it affects the budget by this year's pressurized hydrant line of $165,302.10.
Now, didn't we encumber funds from the last couple of years?
The
How does that fit into the picture?
Additionally, in this agreement, we're making everybody whole on coming up, solving or paying, or we're resolving the amounts owed for 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 by paying $400,000. And that money is encumbered. That money, there's more than that encumbered, but that $400,000 part of this agreement is coming out of the encumbered funds. For 2024, the amount is $165,202.
If we have more encumbered funds than we're liable for 2021, 22, and 23, why aren't we using that to pay for at least a portion of 24?
That has to go back into the unassigned fund balance, because it was,
It was an assigned fund balance.
it was for arrears.
It was
It was for the arrears, not
So
for
I can tell
going
you that
forward.
this money that is going to be owed for this year could not have been encumbered because it was a debt not owed
Right.
in the past year
Gotcha,
by RSA 32.
Mhm.
makes sense.
Who decided it was owed at all? Who decided that we owed that money? Why did we settle?
We settled on that amount, which was substantially a lot less than what they were asking for.
No. What did the voting body approve for expenditure?
The voting bodies didn't approve that.
So why are we paying more than what the voting body approved?
Because the judge has
Well,
issued
the judge issued what?
a 4-page document that stipulates our responsibilities.
Regardless of the vote, it specifically says that the voters can't override this.
So I take it you'd like this in the budget rather than as a warrant article? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't think this will generate conversation either way?
It can't,
Just saying.
from my understanding, it can't be a warrant article.
Oh, interesting.
It's a court order. We've been ordered by.
But the budget itself is a warrant article.
Yes, it is.
Raise and
This
appropriate.
will be in the budget, and even though the budget can raise and lower the amount appropriated, the bare minimum that would be ever appropriated would be the amount of this settlement of $165,000 and change. It would never go lower than that by this court order.
The budget committee could put $2 in that account.
we still have to pay the
That's right.
165.
I'm just saying, it's, but I'm not, I'm fine either way. Whether it's in a warrant article or in the budget, we all know this is going to generate compensation. That's just me personally, so. Budget committee members.
Do you know how much we're gonna pay for
water?
water going forward if we choose to?
We do know how much we're gonna pay for water.
Okay.
We have
So,
no choice.
The judge sets that rate too, or?
yes. So, going forward, we'll be paying, that rate plus 75% of the increase in the water district's tariff. So the tariff right now shows an 8% increase for next year. So the amount for next year will be
6%.
6% more than the 165,302.
There's restrictions.
Then you're
on how
sitting
much-
at 4% with sewer, so we just doubled it. Right, 70%, 75% of 4 is 3, so we just added the hell out of it.
And I don't believe that amount's going to change unless they do another rate survey.
Yeah,
It
the
it
tariff
changes
is,
every year.
The
the tariff is out, and the new tariff came out in, well, the new rate study that was completed at last year, and it went 5 years out, and the rate study recommended an 8% raise for each year for the next 5 years. That was before they had funding, they got a grant to pay for their water treatment plant and other things that would come along. So I don't believe they'll be going up 8% every year, but next year, I know that this year they went up 8%. I don't
They
know.
can do whatever they want now.
Is their
They
tariff
can go
going to
80%
be the
if they
same
feel-
for
if they judge.
the hydrants and their customers?
Yes.
Okay, so they can't give the fire district a higher rate for the hydrants and the
No.
customers?
No, we negotiated a lower rate, actually,
Okay.
during the mediation session.
And we're required to use their services, their water, pressurized hydrants going forward.
No, we can use cisterns or ponds or any other water source.
We can use anything we have to. Whatever we want to use, we
What if
will.
we don't use it, we have to pay?
Okay, so we're locked in.
Well,
Judge.
well, we skipped out on the jury part. We could have let a jury of our peers decide. Also taxpayers and ratepayers and, folks that are under the gun. But we're cutting the corner. We're letting the judge do it rather than the jury.
What were you guys hoping if it went to jury? What were the terms that you guys were hoping?
I think if it went, all along, I was looking at this, I said, we'll win the battles, but I thought we were going to lose the war in the end because of their rates are what they can charge, and we weren't paying anything. And we used the hydrants a couple times and things like that, so I would, what was negotiated is entirely different what I would like, but I don't think either side was really happy with the negotiation process. Both parties walked away grumbling. I guess that's the point of mediation. Nobody's really happy, but there's an agreement, and that's the end of it.
They actually hired a company to come and do a survey. And I believe if they would have gone to court, we would have lost. And we would have paid dearly.
Who did the survey of the water district?
They hired a company to come in and do a rate study.
Yeah.
The current tariff is $228,000 a year on their new tariff program.
Oh,
That's what we'll be paying.
that's what they had, is potentially the high number.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I mean, the people who are on the water system are also in the fire district, so they're paying both sides of the argument through their water rates and their taxes. So it can almost look like that, they were gonna lose no matter what.
And it's 400,000 for 3 years of back pay, right?
Yes.
So that's 133 a year, which isn't horrible to look at that,
Well, we were paying, what, 126?
126 before, when this, the end of 2020, end of 2020, we were paid 126.
And under the first mediated agreement, we agreed to $130,000 a year plus 4% increase for the next 5 years. But that agreement was subject to voter approval, and that didn't pass. So that was like a year and a half ago. So now it's been 3 years without an agreement. So, you know, in this respect, it ends up costing us a little bit more money than if we had, you know, approved the original mediated agreement.
Budget committee members? Like,
You can have a home in the fire district and be on a well and not suffer the consequences of the water district. So that's, the double whammy isn't applicable to everybody.
No, I said if you lived in the water
Yeah,
district.
if you live in the water, if you're on water, you can live in the water district but still be on a well, but if you live
Yes.
in the fire district and you're on a well, then you're shielded from this. And the 8%, that's just a punish, that's just a slap for, hey, you didn't take up 4%. It's, you know,
And it is what it is, right?
no, it isn't what it isn't. It's until you go in front of a jury and see it through to the finish line. I'm waiting for a motion, I already own John Lowe.
I mean, what are our choices, I mean, right now, technically?
We can stick with our budget. We can blow
it's still our budget. We can vote to put it in or not, or reduce it, and let the commissioners figure out how to get the rest of the money, or add it on the floor. Those are your choices.
We've spent quite a bit of money on lawyers, a
Yeah.
lot of it, just like they have. And that means the fire department, all the water users and everything, are paying through the nose to do this. And you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars.
Did
Right, we spent all that money not to see it through, to roll over.
Did we potentially save lawyer fees by not going to trial, or are they pretty much the same?
About 20,000.
20,000 by not going to trial?
We actually, well, I don't know the exact amount, but that check came today or
Today.
yesterday, because they had a $28,000 retainer for a trial, and we got about 20 of it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind that even during the mediation, trying to explain the process to the mediator, who is a retired judge, was very difficult, and trying to explain that to a jury, you know, trying to get them to understand how the process works.
So, Catherine, just so I understand this, as it stands now, we have placed $1 in the budget for pressurized hydrants. If we leave it at $1, then, and the budget is approved without any change, the fire department, fire district has to find that $301 somewhere else in the budget. Is that correct?
Yes, or at the district meeting, it can, that line, yeah, I can't talk, I'm sorry. It could be added into that line at that time, if the
line?
legislative body.
So the bottom line.
You can't go over 10% of your bottom line.
And it wouldn't be 10%.
I know, but I'm just saying, if there's anything else.
Is that 10%?
No, but I'm just saying
It's
that,
like 5.
you know, if,
Yeah, so they can vote
Any
it in
other
at
change?
the district meeting.
But the bottom line is the judge has spoken, and we're responsible for that money.
Say again?
The bottom line is that the judge has ruled, and we have to pay that money regardless of where it comes from.
This agreement is signed, the district has to pay that money. Wherever it comes from out of the district, it has to be paid. Now, if we change the budget tonight, you're gonna publicize it tomorrow, because we have what, 6 days, 7 days? I just read it, I'm sorry.
The budget has not been approved. You haven't had your public hearings.
No, we've approved a budget to go to the public hearing. If we change the budget tonight and approve it, doesn't this budget have to be publicized?
It hasn't been publicized yet.
Okay, I'm just questioning.
It doesn't get publicized until after the public hearing.
Well, the final budget, whatever we approve at the public hearing.
Right.
Oh, well, if there's no changes, if somebody comes and says we need this, this, and this, or could you reduce this, and we make a change, then at that point we'll have to have another public hearing.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
If we accept a change. Yeah. I was just more concerned about the noticing part, because I've never really been involved in that. We always let somebody else do it.
Yeah, there's no issue.
I'm looking to
because
your wisdom.
We haven't, the public hearing hasn't been held. The budget is not posted anywhere.
Okay, so we're good.
So
All right.
that wasn't going to happen until after tonight's meeting because of everything that's on the
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion, we have $165,301.10 to the pressurized hydrant line 4332 for the 2024 budget.
I'll second that.
Motion made, seconded, discussion. Anybody?
Got no choice.
Well,
Our choice was
the
prior to
commissioners
this.
don't have a choice.
Our choice was before this.
Remember, it's a bottom line budget, so. Anybody else?
That's a lot to find, 162,000. It's the 162 for 24 budget.
165,302.
What was the amount of the motion, Kathleen?
Excuse me?
What was the amount of the motion?
I subtracted $1 because the dollar's already in there. That's just me.
So, was it 165,302?
Our
Yes.
motion is 301.
301,
301.
10 cents.
Okay.
We
So
already
that
got a
would
dollar
make
in
it,
it.
that would make it 165,302, 10 cents if it's
Yeah.
approved. I do have a question for the commissioners. So the budget committee agreed to put money into this budget for salary. And I see the commissioners have not. If this passes, knowing that it's a bottom line budget, the legislative body votes this in, will the commissioners use that money for salary? Or do you have to
I'm happy
earmark
to reply to that.
for another place? Because it is a bottom line budget.
Can I reply? So when the commissioners met, as you may or may not know, we were using a 10.7% increase on those lines, which came out to a starting salary of, we can look that up for you. The commissioners were not all in agreement with that number, but that was the number that passed. I felt strongly that, yes, we need to be competitive. We have a great group of firefighters, and turnover is expensive, and the chief could talk at great length about the cost of training, hiring, and outfitting a new firefighter. So my thought when we were having that discussion about the 10.9% raise is that we were gonna be having that discussion again next year because we were trying to get to the median of a group of surrounding fire departments. And a lot of those were already talking about increasing their salaries. So next year, if you did the same salary structure, you could see that we were, again, below the median on that. And so I think that might have been part of the discussion that you folks had.
You're chasing it.
Very
Yeah, always
intense
chasing.
discussion.
So the long answer to your very direct question is, I would be in favor of using the additional money if it's approved that you would recommend for salaries.
You know,
I feel better about my other motion then, thank you.
Is that affirmative, Paul, from you also?
Yes.
I'm sure that will have a discussion at the district meeting as well when they see the difference. All right. Budget members, any more discussion?
I think we need the water and we need to be able to pay for it.
I think so. I think probably all of us would have hoped for a different outcome, but when you go to court, sometimes it's a gamble. So,
You go mediation.
mediation sometimes doesn't really help. However, it is what it is.
I
So,
think when this
We went,
discussion
when we went the first time, we were there, what, a day, back and forth, and it didn't help a bit. I mean, it was just,
yeah.
nobody wanted to give, and we tried our hardest to.
Well, I'd make a comment that come district meeting, it's going to be very important to lay out the history of this and the process. Because I think it's important that, you know, when that initial meeting, 126, everybody thought it was outrageous, right? And we, at a subsequent meeting, said, okay, let's try to settle this at 130, and the voters voted it down. I think all of that is important context to put this number, to place upon this number, that we ended up costing ourselves $40,000 per year. And I think it's important to realize, to make the district members realize that, or help them to realize that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And in this case, we lost. We lost pretty significantly. And, but I think the history is extremely important to bring up.
And the total legal cost, how about that? That would be a shocker.
Yeah, if you could have a final number on what it cost us.
It's about $40,000.
For all 3 years?
Yeah.
We'll make sure we have the exact
I don't know
number
the
for
exact
you.
number, but it's in that ballpark area.
Any more discussion?
And how about, like, what's the effect on the tax rate of $165,302? Like that guy last time down at the town hall, he was there and he explained it.
Yeah, we'll figure that out as well.
Right.
We've got the,
It'll be different in each town.
yeah.
I think 50,000.
I think I had a question like, okay, we did the whole salary thing, that's the tax effect. Is it $1 or is it $3? Is it, you know, of this increase from where we were to where we're going?
Now, does this agreement, I know some of the things that we didn't like about the last agreement was the fact that we couldn't train on them and they weren't like shoveling and maintaining them. Does this address any of those problems?
Yes. So we'll be able to train, and originally we were going to train on Business Park Drive, then John, the superintendent of water, says the new kidney place says they may not like that. And we contacted the kidney place and they said, we have so many filters, you could run mud through there and it wouldn't matter. So we can still train on Business Park Drive, and if that wasn't acceptable, I was looking like behind Lowe's or someplace like that. As long as we can pour water into the woods and not affect anybody. So we can use the hydrant system 2 times a year, up to 5 times each time. So we can get every shift in, the call company as well, trained.
Anyone else?
Call a question.
All right, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
Abstentions? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
I'll make sure that the warrant article is collected and that it reflects in the budget.
Can you make sure in the minutes that it reflects that the commissioners all agreed on the question?
Yes,
Please.
we will make sure that that is stated.
Well, I hope that, I think it's important for the public to see that.
Yeah, and I was pleasantly surprised.
With that,
I was pleasantly surprised with the number that you posted.
well,
I
as I
watched that
said,
meeting.
there was a lot of discussion.
There was a tremendous amount of discussion.
I watched that meeting and you had a very thoughtful
I
discussion.
went around and around. But I think, as you said, it's hard to lose trained employees.
But I think it's important also, since we're on that, to understand that it's not just pay that's going to keep employees. It's the culture, it's the professionalism of the group, it's the entire organization. So, you know, we could be offering employees $40 an hour to start. And if they're not content with the culture and the professionalism of the district, then they're going to leave anyway, because money's not going to keep them there.
Yeah,
So-
training and opportunity.
Exactly. So, and, you know, we talked, Scott, quite a bit about incentives and trying to incentivize our employees. And that's part of that culture and professionalism aspect of it. So I think that also needs to be addressed and brought up and emphasized at district meeting.
Yeah, that we're not done. We had to get the pay rate up, but there's
Right.
more to be said as far as.
We need to maintain that level
Get the
or improve that.
Yeah, education and all that.
Right.
I'm sure that amount's going to generate conversation at district meeting. I think the chief's prepared to talk about
Do we have
it. Anything else, budget committee?
Well, what I'd like to do is get our final number.
Hold on.
Do I have this right, Kathy? 3.690916?
Hold that thought. One 165,302 is correct. So your budget is $3,690,960.
No, 961.
No, that includes that $1. Oh, is it?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Do you know?
It might be 961. I'll double check, yes.
What's the percentage increase from last year? Do you have that?
18.17. But if we take out any grants that the chief has awarded, that is another $53,853 we can take away. So the budget minus the grants is $3,637,107, and that brings the percentage increase down 17%.
We knew that hydrant fee was going to come into the game.
So I can give you a round number of what it does to the taxes. The 165, you divide it into 3. 2/3 of it's going to be paid by taxpayers in Tilton, 1/3 will be paid by taxpayers in Northfield. And the tax, I'm looking at 2023 rates, and of course we don't have the 2024 rates until September or October sometime. In Tilton, it's 27 cents per thousand, and in Northfield, it's 18 cents per thousand. So that's of your valuation of your house, or whatever. But that's how it'll roll out.
It's a horrible year for it because it's a retail year for Tilton. And right now with the commercial properties, so much lower than the residential properties, it's the residential properties that are carrying the burden.
Same story 5 years ago. They all got a break.
Anyway, let's see, Mr. Green, will be fun. You ready to pack up?
So that all I have to do is.
Do we have anything else on our agenda, or was this it?
Pardon?
Was this the only thing on our agenda?
We had no
Did you need anything else from the budget committee?
That was everything that was on the agenda with you guys. So if you want to stay, you're welcome to. If you don't,
We can have
we
a motion to
understand.
adjourn. So we'll.
I'll second that.
A little bit of no discussion, it's non-debatable. All those in favor of the motion on the table, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries, we are adjourned.
Now we're just public. Until we're done public. Then we're kicked out.
Right. Thank you, commissioners, for all the work you did on the hydrant. It couldn't have been fun.
It wasn't.
I'll bet it was a lot of time.
So the,
Probably would have been worse than what the
so we're
court.
looking at
Oh, I'm sure.
a public hearing.
I'm sure.
The 6th at 6 p.m. here.
6:15,
6 o'clock here.
6 o'clock here.
Yes,
Tell him
on the
5.
6th.
Tell him 5 so he shows up.
Yeah. Wise guy.
We don't have anything in the 8th. I have something written.
For
It's
what?
still February
I
6th.
think I just put it in my calendar just to cover myself, because I think we have 2 days, so we're not really.
Right. It depends on how the public hearings go, as to whether you guys have to have a regular meeting after that,
Yeah.
scheduled at a different date. Because you,
Why do I have something down for the 8th?
Because that was the original public hearing date, and then the budget committee recommended the 6th, which is your regular meeting date. So,
we're going to
if you
try and
recall, we
put it all together.
gonna push it all together into one night.
We should recommend the 8th.
As long as it's
Yeah.
very clear that it's
Okay.
the budget committee's public hearing
Thursdays we're
on the
Yes.
budget.
Yes.
Cancel that meeting.
I guess I screwed you up by saying I couldn't find the calendar, because now I can't even get into the website for the calendar.
It's been fixed.
Okay.
It had an issue, so.
Can you make sure that the public hearing is noticed on the Tilton website
6
and
o'clock.
the Northfield website?
I will send the request.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, just let Tim know and he'll put it on the calendar.
Well, Jeannie, the district clerk, sent it out. I don't know where she sent it to, but I can look.
Yeah, just ask her to send it, because I know this meeting wasn't on the Tilton calendar, but I think the public
That's
hearing
because
should
it's
be
on that
for
They
later.
schedule that late. Probably no one will be there.
Not all of our meetings are on the Tilton calendar.
Only if you're meeting over there.
Our calendar.
Oh, was it? I'm still getting used to the new website.
That's
Anyway.
Oh, just to clarify, under your old business, it's got 2 warrant articles. I assume you guys are gonna vote on updating the dollar value on those warrant articles? Is that why they're on the?
Correct.
Well, you already vote, the the operating budget warrant article,
It's a budget committee.
it's a budget committee warrant article, and you guys just voted to approve it. The Article 10 is the health insurance one, and you guys increased it, the commissioners have not, over there, 14-something to 1,500. It was like, now it's like $15, Jason.
Well, that's why I was wondering why it was highlighted, if we
That's
had it-
why.
if we were ahead of them. on-
You were ahead of them on
Okay, all
that.
right, so they have to.
They have to deal with that one.
Gotcha.
But,
That's why I asked, do we have anything else? 'Cause I
No.
saw the highlighted stuff, I thought. oh,
yeah,
that's a
it's,
shame.
I've highlighted what needed to be discussed tonight.
Thanks for sending that PDF over, that was
You're welcome, that helped.
There you go. I'm doing my bond choice.
See you next week. See you next week, yeah.
Oh, here you can look at it, warm and Hawaii.
Congratulations.
Raining and snowing and sleeting.
Take care.
Nice day.
He went to deputy of EMS.
Yes, the deputy chief in charge of EMS.
Yeah.
All right.
For the COVID.
Yeah, chickens are laying eggs again. I've had 3 this winter,
Yeah.
like the last couple days.
What,
4.
Too cold for
I
him?
just stopped for a little bit.
Yeah,
And then pick that.
yeah, I think so.
They're done. Night, everybody.
Nice, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I guess we can move on.
Yeah, so you guys should probably discuss warrant article through the operating budget,
Anybody?
from what your discussion was,
Okay.
and then you have to do warrant article 10, whether you recommend it for the 1,500 or not.
Okay, under old business, operating budget, warrant article number 3.
Yes.
We just need to see if they're going to go along with the budget committee's recommendation or not.
Yeah, before you had your own separate amount that you recommended, but tonight you told them that you agreed with the salaries. So do you want to recommend the full $3,690,961? Which includes the pressurized hydrants as well. You see where I'm going here?
What's their new budget amount?
$3,690,961. It's their budget for the operating
And
budget.
that includes the 165?
Yes, that includes the
Pressurized
hydrants, yes.
And that includes the increase in insurance,
And that includes the increase in the salaries that they recommended.
just the salaries or? the-
Everything,
Okay.
that includes everything.
Now, warrant article 10 is,
That is the health insurance deductible reimbursement. And the health insurance, let's see.
Yeah.
Um, $1,534 was spent out of that in '23, and so it's 1,500 that the
put back
budget
in
committee
there,
recommended put in.
that brings it up to this,
It'll be pretty close to 5,500. We can make up the difference next year, if need be.
In the past, I would say it was more often than not, the budget committee's budget would be less than
Right,
the commissioner's budget.
right.
So how would this article have read in the past? Would we have been in favor of the budget committee's budget,
Yes.
even though their budget was lower than ours? So we need to vote to increase our line items to coincide, or are we just voting to?
If you don't, the figure that's highlighted, the $3,555,019 does not coincide with theirs. It's the difference in the
Yes.
salaries and everything, which you guys agreed to tonight that,
Well, what I was saying was if their dollar appropriation passed, then I would be in favor of using those budget line items as they pass.
right. So do you want to leave it the way it is with the commissioners less than the budget committee?
I don't know, I'm just sort of,
I'm-
I'm looking for
I'm
other
kinda-
input as to
I'm
what's,
asking-
what's appropriate, how are you supposed to do?
I don't know.
Well,
It's up to you guys.
I might suggest that if your number is different than the number that the budget committee came up with, and the budget committee's number is on here, then you should say you do not approve it.
Well, their number is on there as well, if you read the article. It's Article 3.
Is I don't want
No,
to
it's not.
confuse,
Yes, it is, because it says the budget
oh,
committees,
you're not looking at it here.
and then it's after the budget committees, it says this article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners for $3,555,019.
Is that not what it is?
It's page 2.
I was looking at this document which was sent to us. Not the same.
It's on page 2 of that document.
It's the budget committee's budget that's being presented.
Right. The operating budget is strictly budget committees.
So if we have a lower dollar on the budget, on the warrant, does that create confusion for the body? Does that create more conversation that causes confusion for the body? Does that,
What I would say
Yes.
is if you vote to agree with the budget committee's number, it's fine. If you don't, the conversation will be, before the budget committee came up with this number, this is the number we were using. Then the budget committee amended our numbers to reflect a pay raise, basically, and also to pay for the water. That's why there's a difference. And we didn't vote or agree to their, it's up to you guys whether you vote to agree to their number or vote to leave it alone. But if you leave it alone, I think there'll definitely be more discussion or explanation needed as to why the two numbers are not the
all
same.
right, two questions. The $3,555,000 includes the water.
That includes the water.
Well, I guess,
So the $3,555,019, $1,919, that includes the water.
That includes the water.
And the $3,609,961, that's the raise, just the raise.
That includes the water as well.
The water and the raise.
The water and the raise.
Yes.
and there were a few lines in the budget where they went with a lower number than we
Right.
recommended. There's
Yes.
only a few, but there are a few.
Right.
So if you took off the 3,690,000 and so on, sent the water off that, what would you come up with?
If you took the water off,
Yeah.
3,525,659.
What is it again?
3,525,659. You need to amend that number, Kathy. The 961.
it will be. That number was tonight because they hadn't
Right,
talked
but
about it.
what I
or-
mean is we're using a wrong number. It shouldn't be 961, it should be 960, because the budget committee had already included $1 there.
No,
So we're-
it is correct, the 961. That is the correct number.
It's $1 off, I suspect it's $1 off. Because our number, including $1 for that line item, was the 659. Catherine's motion was to add 301, not 302.
Yes.
I know, and I put 301. But this is the number right out of the DRA website, the 3,690,961. It was, when she added that minus $1, this is what that came up
It
to.
should be 960.
It'll be correct.
In-
When it's
in-
gonna,
In any event, I trust that Kathy will take care of that. I guess the question is, by having our number lower, it's going to, I'm going to use the word force, but it's going to put the emphasis on the budget committee to have to explain and justify why they increased the salary and line item above what we had increased it. And that might be okay, or do we want to talk about it you know, both the commissioners and the budget committee. I'm just concerned about what it does to the meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it's not gonna do anything to the meeting. We've proved for the 20-plus years I've been here, no matter what this says, someone's gonna ask the question. The number, the operating budget is the budget committee's number. That is going to be the number voted on unless someone presents an amendment. So to try to shorten the meeting or lengthen the meeting based on some wording, it's not your budget. It's their budget. They should be prepared to explain.
I think at the end of the day, I encourage that conversation.
Well, that's why I was originally thinking that we would leave our number in there as is.
Which you can.
There's no reason not to.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
I just want to be sure, you know?
And it's usually the other way around. So, Paul, based on this discussion, and my opinion would be that we don't re-vote on all those salary lines to make our budget for salaries and all of that equal the budget.
Oh, no, I don't think we should. I mean, I think it's fine just like this here, because there are going to be some questions.
Oh, there's going to be lots of questions.
It's going to be a huge discussion.
And this, I think, allows for us to talk about, you know, our discussion going to the 10%, and then it'll allow the budget committee to talk about their rationale. And if you haven't seen their meeting, I would recommend watching it, because they had I thought, a nice exchange, a very thoughtful discussion about it. So I'm perfectly happy with Article 3, assuming that budget committee number is accurate.
I will make sure that it's correct. Now what about the health insurance deductible? Are you going to recommend it at the 1,500 was my question.
What line is that in the budget?
It's a warrant article.
It's a warrant article
Out of 10?
It's not
Yeah.
really a line item.
So that's the corrected number that we weren't aware of. We weren't. We
Right,
didn't have the last month when we talked about this.
right.
That's the updated number.
I guess I have no problem with the health insurance, 1,500. Put it back in, we always did, we've got it for years and years, so.
So do you need a motion?
Yes.
I move for warrant article number 10 to approve the amount of $1,500.
Second.
It's been moved second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Yes.
The next item is the survey. So attached to your packet was a list of questions developed by the building committee to be asked of the survey company if you gentlemen so desire to actually engage UNH for the survey. I did some research on where we could get the money to pay for the survey, and some of it showed up today. The 20 grand that we received back from the attorneys would more than pay for the survey. Additionally, I am anticipating approximately $72,000 more in federal funds than we had anticipated this year from the SAFER grant, which will be additional revenue. So we have more than enough in return funds and additional funds to pay for the survey. That, I think it was around $13,000.
And I think after the last building committee meeting, you were going to talk to the good folks at UNH.
Yes.
And were we correct in our assumption that we'll give them all these questions and then they'll figure out the proper wording and which ones are most appropriate and what order they should go in?
Yes, and then we will have a chance to review what they come up with, and if we want to amend that or alter that, we can, and send it back to them. They said we can go back and forth several times before we're happy with the form and look and content of the survey. He said some communities, when they do this, go back and forth up to 6 times. I hope we don't have to do that, but.
What was the cost of it? 14 grand?
I seem to think around 13 grand. I don't have the,
It's right around there, it's 13, 14, I remember, yeah.
and most of that is postage. Because they mail it to every address in Tilton and Northfield. And I think he said it was like $7,000 or $8,000 of postage, and then the remaining was for the work, the actual work that they do.
Anybody want to say something before I do?
So the final result isn't going to be 67 questions.
No.
No, if I could,
Go ahead.
if I could. What I, as the chairman of the building committee, what I asked was all of the members to present questions that they would like included in the survey. And I'll talk personally from what I submitted was not necessarily a question, but more what resolution was I expecting to get from the question. So what I did was I actually said, this is the answer, you write the question to give me the answer. And there were some others that were very comprehensive and also some that were very broad. So basically all of these questions were verbatim what was submitted to the building committee by its members. And then, of course, at the end, the chief's comments. So what the layout of the survey as we discussed it, I think is going to be, what we're looking for is, excuse me, a short narrative at the beginning. What's the history of the district? What are our objectives in presenting the survey, and how do the members of the district fit into that? So there's going to be a short, or we discussed there being a short narrative at the beginning, and then going into the actual questions of the survey. And I think at the end of this document is where the chief kind of put some of that information that would be included in that narrative.
If you, and when you read through the questions, you'll see that there's reasonable duplications, maybe slightly.
Yeah, no, I noticed, that's why I asked.
Because,
but the chief just kind of said that they go through, so I wasn't sure
Yeah.
where the process
So
of
all the
everybody
questions put
questions
together on this one sheet and multiple pages.
And I think it was, in our discussion, it was the intention of us to allow the commissioners to determine what portion of this would be sent to UNH for their comment.
One of the things I feel, Paul, is we keep, every time we come up with something and it does not work, we come up with something else. It's like the building down here. We spend $8 grand for a survey there. We spend another 14 here. We keep spend, and we still have no answer. And we could do another one, something else after this. I can't see spending more money.
Well, one of the things that has frustrated me over the last year and a half in participating in this committee is the fact that the directive that we were given by the commissioners at the beginning was very narrow, and according to our resident engineering, civil engineering expert, kind of unobtainable, because in that initial directive, there was discussion of a proposal for a shovel-ready project. And I think there was some misunderstanding of what a shovel-ready project is. But nonetheless, between the time of the commissioning of our group and today, things have changed pretty significantly. And I think from the building committee's standpoint, at least from my standpoint, I'll speak for myself, what's happened is we've taken this very narrow directive and it's just continually broadened out. And all we're looking for, again, I'll speak for myself. When I say we, I'm speaking for me. What I'm looking for is to narrow that back down using data that's pertinent today rather than data that was pertinent 18 months ago. So I feel that that's the benefit of this survey. That's what's going to provide us with that narrowing of our site path. Now, if you can do it without the survey, I'm all for that too, but what I don't like is this gradual widening of our focus.
And I sort of feel a lot of those same opinions, and we're making, again, I'm talking about myself, making assumptions that this solution won't pass for these reasons, and that solution won't pass for those reasons, and any of these solutions won't pass because of the cost, for example. And we're using our experience, whether it's completely accurate or not, and we're using past votes and things that were said to cloud that. And I think part of the survey is, one, to educate the district voters on the magnitude of the issues, because I'll go back to that meeting, and I think you were there, and I think you were there, where we had those two ladies sitting down at the Northfield Fire Station. Mm-hmm. And they were just there listening to what we were talking about. And we were, I don't know, halfway, three-quarters of the way through the meeting, and they got up and left, and we sort of interrupted them and asked if they had anything to share. And my takeaway from that brief little conversation was that it was a little bit of the deer in the headlights, maybe a little bit overwhelmed at all these things we were talking about, because it's just building a station, right? And the realization that maybe there's a lot more issues that need to be discussed, that we were discussing, that make the solution less obvious, especially to them. And so by doing the survey, one thing, by asking the questions, if the district members actually read the questions, whether they fill the survey or not, maybe it helps to show the magnitude of the complexity of building a fire station. But then it also gives us a chance to get some input based on what people are thinking, not what we're thinking. And the question then is it worth the money to be spent? And two, are we going to be able to come up with a station that folks are going to say, $5 million, $10 million, what are you people crazy, and vote it down regardless of how perfect the solution is? So I sort of rambled on there, but I don't know if any of that helps.
I just feel as though you're going to get, it's no different than at a district meeting. You're going to have so many people do it. Those who want it are gonna fill it out, and those who don't, they'll be negative. I just, it's the money, and it keeps more money, more money, more money. And if this does not work, what's the next group? Do we try something else and spend more money? That's what I feel is happening.
Well, and does the survey help us to get more people to show up to the meeting?
Could be, it could be, and maybe they'd show up when, maybe, I don't know,
I think, Paul, when I hear you describe the predicament from your perspective, I see no resolution. I see none whatsoever. Because there's always second guessing, there's always saying, we should have done this, or we could have done that. What we've proven over the years with facility committees and building committees, whatever you want to call them, is we have no clue. We have no idea what the town will tolerate. And until we learn that, we're just spinning our wheels. And I'll be honest with you, without this survey or something similar to it, getting the pulse of the district, I don't see any need to go on. I really don't.
Kind of just piggybacking on what Paul just said, and you had mentioned earlier that there was a survey done in the past, but the demographics of both towns and the people have changed. So, in a way, updating the temperature, if you will, of the town now versus whenever the last survey was done, I think it helps.
We've been getting the pulse of the district.
But there may be people in town that don't know we have.
After we do all the work, afterwards. All we're looking to do here is get the pulse of the town before we continue working.
That's a great way of putting it.
Pretty much so.
I mean, you could, it just saddens me that we're spending money after money after money, and we're getting nowhere.
It's not just the money, Paul. Look at the effort. You've got volunteer groups who are doing this.
And I understand.
What about the time that these people are putting into it?
I understand.
It's not just about the money.
That's the most valuable piece of that pie, is you've got people who believe in what's going on, and I will only speak for myself. I've said from the beginning, as long as I believe in what we're doing, I'm on board. It's been a struggle for me because of the breakneck speed at which we've changed focus. I'm not a quitter. I don't see the, if the survey results were now, and you had your data for now, and you were voting for now, and you were building now, there's so much time between those now, that it's going to change again no matter what. Just like, you commented, did you say data from 18 months ago?
No, that's when we were given the latest
Right.
directive, was about
So
18 months ago.
That's what we were based on. So even if it's all approved now, guess what's going to change? The time's going to change. It's going to be another 12 or 18 months before you're not going to.
And to expand on that,
You're not going to jump that hurdle because you're running towards the hurdle, but time is pulling the hurdle away from you faster than you're running towards it.
And
So spend 14 grand on
I
a
always
survey.
feel like when we're at the district meeting, we're talking about money, and we don't spend a lot of time talking about the need, the reason why we want to spend this money. And we assume that a lot of people there already know the condition of,
Well,
and what we're
I
trying to
thi-
accomplish.
I think the need, they understand the need is there.
the chief always has the best of presentations. We do this, why, it takes that, and this is, that all adds up to this. And this is what we need. We need. Not what I need, or you need, or anyone else individual needs. Because my need is probably less than anyone else's.
Right.
And some people's are more than anyone else's.
You know,
So the idea is to get the heads together. And I originally was not going to submit any questions to the survey, because I don't support it. But I thought about it, sat down. Yeah, I'm going, did you get my PDF? Yes. You're doing me a PDF. Congratulations. I did a PDF.
hopefully you just
So,
said some.
You said
So-
miracles don't happen.
That's gonna get you an answer now, which is not gonna parlay into success later. There's too much time, and I mean, 14 grand in the grand scheme of things is nothing. You can spit it, and it won't hit the table. But it is money after money after money after money, and personally, I think we can do better. I mean, it's too, they're just too far. Because, let's face it, the people who will support what certain people support, and there are certain people who won't. So if you end up in a situation where, okay, it's at the vote, and we saw that happen, I don't know exactly when, but there was a big committee meeting, there was a lot of work done, and someone on the committee got up and said, nope, these numbers are wrong, and it just tanked the whole thing. You gotta keep people engaged. The last thing we want is an elongated, long dragged out meeting, and in the end you walk out with a no. That's not why I'm spending my time, because we all have other things to do. We're all, I think, been very giving of our time and pretty patient with some of the changes. I can't tell you that I haven't wanted to throw in the towel, because I have. But it's not there to go. Don't give up, don't quit. I don't see the 14 grand helping at all.
If anything, will tell us what we shouldn't be looking at. So I think it will help personally. And having the knowledge of the survey, even though we're not going to vote on the result of whatever the survey findings say, we're not going to vote on that tomorrow or at this district meeting, but we'll possibly vote on it at the next district's meeting if the survey results come back soon enough where the building committee can act upon it and make a new recommendation or another recommendation to the fire commissioners, and then the fire commissioners have to accept what the building committee says. I mean, the building committee has already given the commissioners one recommendation, and the commissioners, through their discussion, decided to not accept it or act on it. And I think some of that because of what their thoughts are or what the public is thinking. We all have an idea of what the public's thinking, but none of us really know if we're right or not until we actually ask them. We haven't asked them, really. We haven't had any, we were going to have some public hearings to kind of inform the public of kind of what was going on. And we kept moving that back because things were so dynamic, we really couldn't give them positive information other than we're still trying to figure it out. I think this will help us figure it out. It'll help you guys figure it out.
And I think, Kevin made me think of this, is we should, the UNH survey folks should help us with the timeline. If if we're planning to bring this before a district meeting, March of '25, and we need X amount of months to be able to, and I don't know how long that whole process would take to come up with some, pretty pictures that show a building that will fit, that has the right rooms based on that space needs. So when does the survey come out? Because right, you don't want to do the survey years before you do the presentation of the project.
So I had a meeting today with Lorero, a Zoom meeting. They wanted an update of what was going on. And so I told them about possibility of doing the survey, and once that results come back, and then some of my follow-up questions with them is, once we get the survey back and the building committee decides to give you direction as to what to go, or what to build, or what to design with the commissioner's blessing, how long does it take to have pictures, a floor plan, a basic floor plan? Not finished plans, but something that can be presented, and what a construction cost might be. He says that'll only take a month or so. That's the easy part. So, yeah.
Well, you think about it, we've got the space needs. Does it need to be tweaked? Well, maybe. A little bit, but we have a space needs study. We have that data.
I think it's our intention, we have tweaked it a little bit, I think it's our intention to completely go through it, item by item.
Right. So, it's not like we can do the survey and then, start looking around town to see what property is available.
I think this is, all I'm gonna say, this is my last comment tonight.
Just tonight, tomorrow.
I think what we need to do is determine whether or not we're serious about this project. And if we are, what do we need to do to get to that end? Okay? I think what the building committee has shown is that we are serious about it. And what I need to hear from you gentlemen is that you're serious about it as well. And if there is an intention to not utilize this survey as one of the building blocks towards getting towards that end, what I need from you is guidance as to what are the building blocks. Because honestly, I'm nearly at wit's end. I don't know what else I can do, or we can do, the building committee can do, to get this to the end line. Right now, we're in the middle of it, and we're just swirling like a tornado.
Yeah, but Paul, it's because we started out, when you guys started, your direction was down in Northfield. Then it came up, the piece of property up by Tilton School, that came up. Well, that didn't go through. Next thing that came up, it went quite a while, then Tilton offered us a piece up there. That messed us up. Then, when we found out, well, we didn't find out, when they said, because of traffic and everything, it may not be a great idea. Then it was to look over here to see if we could add, it just keeps going on and on and on.
Paul, trust me, I understand all the hurdles, all the tripping points, all the changes, and everything that's gone wrong. What I'm looking for is to make it right. What do we have to do to get this done? Any one of us can stand up and say, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. What's difficult is getting up and say, this is wrong, but I think this is how we can make it right. And my feeling is that this survey is one of the ways that we can make a portion of our product, our project, our efforts, how we can make that right. And I'll bring up also that, looking back on the report from the 2019 building committee, at that point we voted, it wasn't a majority, it was 5 out of 7 and 6 out of 9 or something like that, that Park Street was the best solution as far as the location. for these reasons. And then after we were basing that upon our investigation and anecdotal information, things that we thought, one of them being that Park Street would be the cheapest site because we already own it. As it turned out, after getting information from Lorero and excavation costs and site work, that wasn't the case. Okay? At that time, we didn't have the possibility of using this location. Okay? So yes, things have changed. Yes, we got tripped up. But I'm not going to stand up and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, unless I have at least some idea of how to make those wrongs right. And that's what we're looking for from you, is we don't know where we're going right now. We don't. What we need to know is, what do you guys want and how do we get there? And I promise that's the last I'll say tonight. I'm going to listen from now on.
Given what you just said, they don't need a building permit. Because it's their responsibility. We want to help as much as we can, but if the directive is going to come from them, let them do the work. It's their job.
I'm going to break my promise. Because you goaded me into it. I agree with that, at the end of the line, it's going to be their decision. And what they've asked for is guidance from us as far as how to get there. What I'm looking for is guidance from them as far as what exactly are our options? What exactly are you gentlemen looking for? And it would be easy to say, well, we're looking for a location, or we're looking for a final plan, or we're looking for a budget number. But it's not as cut and dried as that.
I think the bottom line is, they don't know.
Which brings up another point. We don't know either.
No, we don't.
And one of the ways that we're going to find out that they're going to know and we're going to know is by completing this survey, because this survey is not just saying, do you want a building in Tilton or do you want a building in Northfield? Or what is your tolerance for the cost? What it's doing is it's engaging the public in the process, because there has been minimal engagement, right? We tried, one of the things that never came to fruition but it's going to be these informational meetings at the library to try to engage the public, because if we can get one person to understand what we're doing, they're going to go home and they're going to talk to other people, and it broadens out from there. You're not going to get people here. You're not going to get people at your meetings. You're not going to get people at our meetings. You're probably not even going to get people at the public hearing. Okay? So this part of this outreach is going to be determined by that survey. Now, are there other ways we can do the survey? Can we do it for less money? Yes, we probably could. Are we going to get usable results? And do I want to reinvent the wheel and maybe make a square, on my first attempt? Or do I want to go to the caveman that made the wheel to begin with, which is UNH, utilize their experience, because that's what we're paying for. We're paying for their experience and their expertise in ensuring that our survey is going to generate the results that we're looking for.
Do you think the survey is more valuable than public outreach?
No.
I don't either.
I think
If you want to spend 14 minutes, spend on public outreach. I think because that's where you get, we don't get people come to the meetings, but guess what, on the survey, that's the same as not coming to a meeting. They're not going to play. They don't participate. The people you can get to attend public outreach, where there's no pressure, there's no decision. They should understand what's being spoke about, where they may not understand the question on the survey. I think public outreach is invaluable, if that means worth more than, it does, right, exactly. Public outreach, to me, is huge. It's worth way more than a piece of paper.
I kind of think the survey is part of the public outreach. It helps to educate, inform, I won't say educate, inform the residents that there's something going on where a lot of folks around here don't know anything about anything.
They have no idea.
And I think, this going to every single address until Northville, at least tickle that a little bit, and maybe spark some interest. Maybe we'll get a few people coming to some of the meetings and hearings and stuff like that instead of crickets.
You may get people that are part-time residents that own on the lake, and they aren't here in the winter, and they don't know what's going on. You may hear from them that where in the past you wouldn't.
But they don't get a vote.
Not unless they're registered.
No, but they're paying the bill.
Right.
And I know, I get you, they don't get to vote, but
And so we
But
want
does
votes.
their opinion
right?
have value to the committee moving forward? They gave us these options. Do you mail the survey to households and post office boxes? Do you mail them to households, post office boxes, and businesses? Registered voters, likely voters only. I mean, how do they determine?
Previous voting,
Likely voters.
those are people who are on a list that have voted recently.
So that would be like, I don't know, less than 100 people who voted? I mean, when was the last time we had 100 people at a district meeting?
so would Paul owns a house, an apartment building on Main Street. It has four tenants in it, 4 apartments that all have a mailing address, apartment A, apartment B, at 2 Main Street. Those 4 people are gonna get that, and then is Paul, as the property owner, gonna have a thing mailed to his address according to the tax record?
I don't know the answer. I suggest, from what I've read there, is that if someone has a mailing address in Tilton and in Northfield, they will get a survey. So if Paul has a mailing address, his business address is 2 Main Street, and he has a separate mailbox for the business, and then the 4 residents have their own mailbox, I would suspect that he would get a survey. If he has a post office box for his business in one of the Tilton or Northfield post office box places, I imagine he would. If his post office box is in Concord, because that's where he lives, he probably wouldn't. That's what I would think.
But those 4 residents that live in the apartments, or however many, would, if they were registered voters, they have a say in the...
They have a say in the final decision.
Right.
As we all know, you have to be a registered voter to really have a say.
Right.
And you have a vote at that point, not...
Well, I guess we beat it enough. What do you guys think? Somebody make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we fund the survey.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
I'll second the motion. Discussion, do we need to pick which option at this
Just tell me
time?
which option, and that's what we'll do.
Does the building committee have an option? That they could,
I think they talked about every address, but that doesn't mean, I don't think they took an official vote.
Well, I don't want to speak for the committee because
I mean, I guess I'm leaning towards the household post office boxes. Because registered voters, you're gonna get, households are gonna get two,
we have this one,
not second one.
for businesses too.
Well, it should be residential addresses only.
You don't think there's any benefit for the businesses?
How are they gonna help us?
Because if they lived in town, they would get it as their regular address.
They have the potential to live twice.
You get a couple of billionaires like Dan and Chris DeGeese, who could buy us anything we ever want, and then some. Then you get their influence and the burden from someone who, well, probably many people who really can't afford it.
So I don't know what's the best option. Thanks, Kevin, for the input. I think from getting information out to the residents, whether they're voters or not, I didn't want to use the registered voter list, and then I didn't want to use the likely voter list because we're trying to get, you know, so one of the first two, I guess, in, right, a business owner, if they live in Concord, isn't gonna help out. So maybe the first column, but
No,
the
that's
first.
the address. What was it?
And the first one is
Household and PO.
Household
PO
and PO
PO
boxes.
boxes.
And I would assume that would include Lockmere Post Office and the Winnisquam Post Office. So if we did the households and post office boxes, that's all $11,996.50.
Household and post office, please.
Households and post office boxes.
Column one, no letter from.
And that is using the mail survey.
Yeah.
So did the building committee discuss how they felt about it? Survey?
we talked about the necessity of it and the value of it. I don't think we specifically addressed what we would recommend because it's you guys that are going to be funding it.
Okay, so you guys have been, Eric moved it in, and Tim seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. Okay, move on.
Okay,
Can I make a comment on that, please, before you move on? Because then I'm going to move on. Conduct the meeting. Paul, I understand your concerns in your position. What I'd like you to think about a little bit is my comment about, rather than all of us standing on a podium saying what's wrong with the process or with the world, what are we going to do to make it better? And I might ask you to take a little bit of time and think about if we didn't do this survey, how could we get to the result of getting the district to approve a new building. And I'd be 100% all in on any recommendation you have to make that happen. And it would be my pleasure to bring it up and discuss it and implement it in our process. Because right now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how we get to a positive result right now. I thought I knew, but I don't. So if I could ask you just to think about that, and maybe, we can talk and utilize some of your recommendations or thoughts. Thank you. I will shut up now.
Only because you're leaving.
Exactly.
So the additional information that I provided with you tonight is just informational. It's the PowerPoint projects, PowerPoint presentations for the district meeting. If you would like to go over them either now or at your leisure later, and let me know if you want additions, changes, or subtractions. I'd be happy to accommodate that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night.
Thank you.
So,
Good night,
so
Paul.
Paul, Ron Paul, was Paul.
Yeah,
Over the course of our meetings, I make notes, and I carry this notebook with me everywhere, and every time I think of something, I make notes. And I have a lot of notes in here for the district meeting. So my thought on this would be, I'd love to go home and just review this,
okay.
and then review my notes, because I'm not sure that's, well, I shouldn't say it that way.
Okay.
I
may
prefer
not,
to use
I'm
the
sure I
time.
haven't captured all your thoughts.
I'd like to maybe review that. When's our next meeting? It's gonna be the first week of
Next No,
Right now,
February.
you're scheduled
February
to hold
6th.
your meeting after the public hearings on February 6th. If you don't believe you want to try to do that all in one night,
Yeah.
the public hearings and the meeting, we could always
February
choose, have your meeting on February 8th, or pick a different night.
So if our next meeting is next week, then me personally, I would like to talk about this next week.
After the public hearings?
Yes.
Okay.
You said that was the 5th, right?
The 6th.
Yeah,
Next week, Tuesday.
yeah, next Tuesday. Is it gonna be here?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. Review the minutes, 1/2/24.
You all have
Review the minutes of,
the second is a regular meeting, the 8th is, the 9th is a regular meeting, but you also have non-publics at both of them. So, I've got, where is it? I think I grabbed everything.
Yeah, that's what I sent them on the.
Here,
I sound like the next guy.
You didn't type them up, did you?
Lord, no.
I noticed that.
Doing a nice job.
Take one down, pass it along. How did you? You can tell it's not.
Yeah. She's right in the detail there.
I'm gonna misplace my papers.
Yes, she does, and she's learning slowly that you don't need to do as much detail. That it's not a verbatim thing.
It's not transfers.
Tim said, quote,
I know.
no, I like them actually, I like,
Well,
but I know they can be vague too, because
yeah.
because like on page 1 of the second, or we don't have these on the floor for discussion.
Nobody's made a motion or a second.
I'll move the minutes of the January 2nd, 2024 Commissioners meeting to the floor for discussion.
Oh, I'll second that. Just on our new business, the last line, it says the cost of the service would be 11,000, but I thought there was a variety of, a range of pricing.
There were a range of prices.
It was like 11,000 or 14,000, I think, for the.
Right.
Page 2.
A little over 14 looks like the highest.
But I just pulled up my.
So are we going for the 14 or 11?
I think that it should word, I think it should word the cost of the survey, depending on option,
Would be 11,000
$11,000 to $14,000.
approximately. We ended up going lower than
So that should be changed by him.
I just typed it in here, the cost of the survey depending on options will be approximately 11 to 14,000.
Perfect.
I think on top of page 2, Eric had put together a mission
Hold on, let me,
based on his review of what others have done in the past. And I think he was just reading it as this is, you know, what a mission statement could be or could include. And here, it's not clear as to why Eric read this mission statement.
all right, so.
I think I was just using it as an example of one that I
And
came
so
across,
so the minutes should,
or
and-
of the compilation
Okay, so the survey was at where? Sorry,
the survey was on the bottom, halfway, 2/3 of the way down page 1.
okay,
right above Fire Station Building Committee, which is in bold.
Oh, she doesn't have it right in front of her.
I don't have one.
She's just making a note. So I don't know if you want to reword that sentence at the top of,
Okay, so page 2,
second sentence, Commissioner Parra responded with a mission statement for the committee. I think that needs to be more clear as to what that mission statement was, because it sounds like we're giving the committee a new mission statement
And I think it was just a suggestion,
or an
An
example.
example of what a mission statement could look like, or
Yeah.
or example of a mission statement.
Yeah, so maybe just Commissioner Parra
Gave it-
responded with,
gave an example
right,
of a mission statement.
right.
Okay, the sentence should read, Commissioner Pyra gave an example of a mission statement. Okay. Anything else?
they always look different when I read them here.
Just on your phone?
No, I read them on my computer.
Oh.
I don't print
I
them.
print them out and make notes all the time, and I can't find them. So,
It almost seemed like she could take that under chief's report, all the way down to old business, and just make that an attachment from the chief. This way she doesn't include it in title, that's a page. I'm just, probably save her some typing.
That's easy. Copy, paste, search, find, replace.
I don't remember that full, I don't remember the full report going in previous minutes, because we have them.
Yeah, I used to do that.
It was attached, wasn't it?
No, I used to put it right in the
All
minutes.
copy paste?
Yeah. It was like, once it was done once, all you have to do is just change the month and the figures. Everything else is the same. So easy.
I'm happy with the rest
We have
of
a
that.
thing here that says commissioners will be on February 13th. Oh,
I
if the
wasn't
hearings
at
go
that
late,
meeting.
oh, if the hearings go late, the commissioners will be on February 13th. We won't know that until the 6th though.
That's right. And I've already posted it that you're going to be holding your regular monthly meeting after the public hearings.
Okay.
But, you know, it's easy enough to call it to order and vote it. I don't foresee the meeting going, the public hearing going that long.
I don't have anything else on my
Somebody will make a motion changes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 2nd as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move the minutes of the January 9th, 2024 Commissioners meeting to the floor for review and approval.
Second. Because there's one thing over here too, so that's figures. No,
That's,
no,
that's. On this one,
no, no,
who's that?
that's the one.
That's budget.
No, yeah, it is. I don't have any changes.
I don't either.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 9th as written.
I'll second that.
It's been moved second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any other business? Review and sign the manifest, I believe we all did.
I think Tim's doing that now.
Okay.
We're doing that now.
So we don't have any public comment.
What about letter B?
Letter B.
Commissioner's audit question here.
That's a questionnaire that the chairman of the board has to answer,
Oh, no problem.
complete, and Paul requested that, you know, to come into the office and just do it and
Oh, okay.
get it done.
Well, I'm sure we're skipping something.
Now, Paul said he would come in and see me tomorrow.
I say tomorrow?
You did.
I don't remember saying tomorrow.
You said tomorrow.
I can't do Friday.
Well, I suppose.
I get out of work at 12 on Fridays.
All right, so come in and see me on Friday, but you can't, yeah, because it has to be done prior to
Okay.
the auditors coming next week.
Well, Friday's Groundhog Day too, so you can do it a couple times.
I know.
Can I, can I ask a question, because I can't find it in there?
Sure. What?
On the manifest list, there's a line item to New Hampshire generator installers.
Yep,
Yes?
What is that for?
the generator at the Park Street shelter blew up, and it was replacement under warranty. So it was an insurance claim against Primex, so we had to pay for it and then we'll be reimbursed for it.
So that'll be a complete reimbursement?
$1,000 deductible.
Okay. And that was a new generator installed?
Brand new.
Nice.
It ran, the problem was, they shut the electricity off there, Eversource shut the electricity off for non-payment. We were not paying the bills because we weren't getting the bills. That caused the generator to kick on. Brand new generator, after 21 hours of operation, you have to shut it down and check it. Well, there was no one, we didn't know it was running, and it went beyond 21 hours and blew up because it ran out of oil or something like that. So,
Oops.
Is there a, well, can you make sure that that's?
so that site is non-monitored, like Shed Road site is monitored. The Park Street site is non-monitored at this time. I haven't got to that point where we get the monitoring yet.
Well then, Tim.
What?
Okay, number 8, non-public session per RSA 91.
Before we go into that, we didn't talk about the correspondence number 2 from the auditors.
Auditors, there is,
I started reading that and,
you started reading this?
Did you glaze over?
It'll put you,
well, I was concerned whether there was anything in there that I should make a note of, or whether that was all typical.
this is all
boilerplate.
typical every year.
Well, the 2023 one looked like that's typical boilerplate, what, whose responsibilities were. Does Tim Pearson get a copy of those?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I might, on my own, I will ask him.
Oh, a copy of these letters?
Yes.
No, because this is addressed to the Board of Commissioners,
Yes.
so he would not get a copy of that.
He's our treasurer though, right?
Right, but he's not on the Board of Commissioners. It goes to who's it addressed to. I can get
Is
a copy,
it okay for me to forward a copy of this
I can
one?
get a copy to him, yes.
Is that appropriate? I guess I would like to have a discussion with him about some of the things in there just to confirm that they're just normal audit type things.
Oh, I can forward you letters from every year we've had an audit. It's just like this without the date,
They're
with a different date.
Okay. All right.
boilerplate, that's the right word.
It is boilerplate, yes. This one does need to be signed by the chairman of the board, and then management's signature. I'm assuming that you would want the chief to sign that line.
I would say he's probably the manager.
Right. So you're the governance signature because you are the chairman of the board.
So we have to make a motion to authorize them to sign that, because it only has space for one signature.
No, it has space for 2.
But on a board of 3, you have to give,
Oh,
you have to authorize him to sign. I believe, I could be wrong. I know another, when I was a selectman with the town stuff, there was only one signature, we made a motion to authorize using the chair to make the signature.
whatever you guys want to do. It doesn't matter to me. I just need signatures.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the chairman of the commissioner and the chief to sign the audit letters.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been, it's been voted on and there's been a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I guess we're going non-public. Session RSA 91-A, :3, Roman numeral 2L.
Okay, so you made the motion, is that what I'm, for this
I'll
one?
second.
And you're seconding it? Okay, let me,
These both of them?
Yes, let me grab this.
Is it two different sets?
There are two different sets, one for C and one for L.
Right, so this is.
So-
This is one.
Each of you get one
Yeah.
paper clip.
There are two of them stuck together, so one
Yes.
package felt better.
So here's the L to be read, pass it down, and there's this C to be read.
Wait a minute, all right. Hold on.
Do this.
You gonna fill it out too?
I'll fill it out if you want.
Well, this gave you the date.
Okay.
Members present, all over, Fire, Mr. Sadler. Motion to enter non-public session made was by Paul, seconded by Eric. It was RSA 2. That was a roll call vote.
Yes, it was.
Right. So Paul Loser,
Yes.
Eric Pyrie, yes.
Tim Sadler, yes.
Tim Sadler, adopt the report of the video. Non-public session entered at 7:26 p.m. Public session reconvened at 7:30 p.m. Are we rolling?
You're rolling.
All right, so we're back in public session at 7:30 p.m. No motion to seal. So in the non-public session, we approved the non-public minutes of January 2nd and January 9th, 2024.
Non-public again.
All right, so now. This, all right. Today is the 29th. Make a motion to enter non-public session under RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2C, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. So I made the motion.
I'll second it.
Tim,
Been
roll
moved,
call vote. Oh,
been moved second.
roll call vote.
Paul Roger, yes.
Eric Pyrie, yes. Tim Sadler.
Yes.
Stop the recorder. Non-public session entered at 7:32. Non-public session reconvened at 7.
Public session.
48, public session.
Public session reconvened at 7:48 p.m. Make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session because it would determine that the divulgence of this information would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board. Roll call vote to seal these minutes. Oh, I made the motion. I made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Been moved second. All those in favor?
No, it's a roll call.
Oh, roll call.
Roll call. Paul Loser.
Yes.
Eric Pyrie, yes. Tim Sadler.
Yes.
Motion passed. We're back. And these were reported by me.
The other ones?
Oh, I want those too.
Yes, please. No. Yeah, you can give me all of those, but I want the,
Draft minutes.
thank you.
I would take those home.
Did you want that?
I don't know.
Oh, is there anything else on the agenda?
Nope. I'll make a motion we adjourn at 7:49.
Second.
Moved second. All those in favor?
Aye.